Good morning, pre-algebra. So here is our joke. How much does a pirate pay for corn? Pay for corn? Well, it pays a buccaneer. A buccaneer. And so here's how it works. A buccaneer is another name, a synonym for pirate. And a buck, like a buck, like a dollar. And then an ear. So a corn has an ear of corn. And it's this thing right there. So a buccaneer for a pirate. There we go. All right, I'm on page 341. So we talked about changing fractions to percentages and percentages to fractions. And today we're going to be talking about turning percentages into decimals. And then all sorts back and forth with fractions, trying to figure out which one's the highest. So you're going to be converting a lot of different things. So I'm on page 341. You should turn there with me. And no, don't ignore this. Really turn there and look at it this time. Okay, so our first example is we are given 16%. And it says change it to a decimal. Now in my mind, this is a pretty simple process. What we do is we just divide by 100. So we're just going to divide it by 100. Or the easiest way to do that is cross out your percentage and move your decimal place, it's right here, 2 places to the left. So now we're left with 0.616, but we need to put a 0 in front of our decimal, so that is our answer. We represent 16% as 0.16. So what if I had 78%? Same thing, cross out your percentage, move your decimal place 2 points to the left, and we're left with 0.78. That's 70. Come on, Mr. T. There we go. So move your decimal point 2 places to the left. That's all you got to do. Or you can divide it by 100. So eventually, if you did 16 divided by 100 in your calculator, that would also get you this answer. Okay, turn the page. Now, what if we have a decimal percentage? So here's the example, 0.7%. Ooh, tricky, but we actually do the same thing. We just continue to move our decimal place 2 points to the left. So now we have 0.007, and that is our final answer. So even though it looks kind of more confusing, just again, move the decimal place 2 places to the left. All right, now what if we had a larger percent, like, say 126%? Well, same thing. We move our decimal place 2 points to the left. So we end up with 1.26. And that is our final answer. Okay, so you get the process. When we're changing percents to decimals, move the decimal place 2 places to the left. That's all you gotta do. Moving on. So now we are given a decimal and we want to find a percent. What do you think? I think we do the opposite. So instead of moving our decimal place 2 places to the left, we want to move our decimal place 2 places to the right. 1, 2. So throw in a 0 there, and we've got 20. So 20, and then there's our decimal, so 20%. Okay, and this works for any kind of number. It could even be really big or really small. So let's look at 0.005. So we move our decimal place 1, 2. So now we are left with 0.5%. There we go. All right, so when we're talking about, let's write this down. When we're talking about going from a percent to a decimal, we want to move to left. When we're talking about decimal and going to a percent, we want to move to right. Okay, so that's kind of what we got to do and what we have been doing. Let's move on to the next page. Now I'm at 343. So example number 4, express each fraction as a percent. Round to the nearest tenth if necessary. So now they want us to change a fraction into a percent. So this is going to take kind of a 3-step process. We're going to want to change our fraction to a decimal, and when we see that decimal, we'll be able to turn it into a percent. So here's our first one. They give us 5/8. So remember, we want to change our denominator to 100. So to find that, I'm going to write 100 down here, and x. We've got 8x equals 500, and then divide both by 8. X equals 62.5. So how would we represent that as a percent? Well, what do you think? All we got to do is put our percent sign. Because we set it up like a fraction out of 100, all we do is add our percent sign. Now what you could have done is you could have typed in 5 divided by 8, and that would give you 0.625. Then we got to use our information of move our decimal place 2 places to the right. And that would get us the same answer. Okay, so either one will work. Let's do another example. Let's do 27 over 13. Okay, so I'm going to type that in my calculator. 27 divided by 13 equals, we got a long number, 2.0769, and that's where I'm going to stop. But our instructions say round to the nearest tenth, so I'm going to round that to 2.1. Now we're going to write this as a percentage. So here's the tricky thing. Do I just add on a percent sign? No. Remember, we did this process, the actual division, so we still need to move our decimal 2 places to the right. So now we are at 210%. And that's close enough for what I'm looking at in my book. Okay, so there's your instructional video for today. Remember, if you have any questions, please ask for help. Otherwise, I will see you in real life.